Today, we're showing you the 1-year transformation of this room. And you might be asking, why in the world did it take so long? Well, let me tell you the story. Everything started when we discovered this leaky pipe inside one of our walls. This teeny tiny little leak caused some major problems, and I mean major.
It's a little overwhelming.
First, we were forced to tear out lots of flooring as we had to discover how far the leak had gone. And unfortunately, the water had found its way into our home office, which we had just finished renovating. Next, we discovered the water had gone under the floors in this entire guest bathroom, which meant we would have to take out all of the tile flooring and the tub and shower surrounding, which was a butt ton of work. But that wasn't our biggest problem, because our biggest problem was this playroom. When we pulled up the floors in here, we made basically the worst discovery possible.
That is what it looks like under the playroom floor.
The mold was so serious in this room, it put us in a bind because we didn't have time to wait for insurance to approve it or give payment. We had to hire a professional remediation company to come take care of this problem ASAP. And take care of it they did. In fact, to fully complete this job, they had to basically destroy this room. But as discouraging as that was, we still had hope because we knew that eventually insurance would come through, right? And they would cover not only the $10,000 we had to pay for remediation, but also the $20,000 we were quoted to put this room back together. I mean, am I right? You're gonna come through for us, insurance? Like, surely you would never deny our claim. And after that punch in the gut, we literally just closed the door to this room and left it that way for over a month. But slowly, with some room to breathe, my wife started getting really inspired. And we finally found the oomph to look each other in the eye and say, we're just gonna do this whole renovation ourselves. And that's all heroic and everything, but we did not anticipate how big and how intense this project would be. We did not realize that, in fact, this project would take us 2 entire months.
That's so annoying. No, 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 no. It's a little messy. All right, today, before we actually start putting this room back together, I'm gonna work on boxing up all of this stuff. All of it got cleaned really thoroughly with a mold killing cleaner. So here we are.
It is time.
I went ahead and took this opportunity to sort through some of our board games and books and put all of the ones that our kids have outgrown into a giveaway pile. All right, I got most of the toys all boxed up and moved out of here, so I've got a lot more space to work, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started on some demo. All right, to start out, I'm gonna pull off all of the shiplap I have on the walls in here because my plan is to actually shiplap the ceilings, and we're gonna be doing a really fun wallpaper on the walls. So, I'm ready to pull this off, but I do have another use for this, so I'm gonna try and pull it off carefully because I wanna reuse it. Oh, I should really have eye protection. What is this? I don't know what's happening.
Let's play it safe, huh?
All right, I finished pulling out all of my shiplap and all the stuff on the walls over there. I'm gonna move on to the next thing on the demo list, which is pulling down these bookshelves up above our windows.
Want me to yank on it?
Perfect timing.
Yes, great
I have to be at work in 2 minutes.
Look how easy you came.
Yes.
Yes. All right, we got the shelves down. I'm feeling really good about my decision. It just like opens it up visually, and now I'll be able to hang curtains if we want curtains that go all the way up. The last thing we need to demo in this room is this loft area behind me. It was really fun when the kids were little, but for the past few years, pretty much nobody's used it, so it just collects stuff.
Oh. Goodness, babe.
Sorry, babe.
And it's times like these where you kind of question your sanity a little bit. What are we doing? We're a confused DIY couple.
Whoa, I'm glad I didn't take those supports out. That was nice.
Pits are sweating, you know?
Ow.
Oh, gosh.
Whoa.
Got it.
Good job. Really quick, we want to say thanks to Jim for sponsoring today's video. 90% of Americans are nutrient deficient, and even if you're eating a ton of fruits and vegetables, it can be hard to get all of the nutrients you need from food alone because our food sources are over-farmed and therefore not as nutrient dense as they used to be. Jim helps fill the gaps in your daily diet with real whole food sourced nutrients that your body knows and loves, all in one delicious little bite. I personally love that Jim is science-backed. They've developed their bites with a scientific advisory board of the brightest minds in holistic medicine, from neurologists and functional medicine doctors to registered dietitians and herbalists, using a mix of clinically studied ingredients. I especially love that there are so many ingredients that are beneficial to gut health. If you've been following us for a little while, you have probably heard me mention that I have ulcerative colitis, and so I take gut health pretty seriously.
Very seriously.
Jim bites have microencapsulated probiotic strains, which pretty much just means it can make it all the way to your gut to be absorbed. The bites also have a lot of prebiotics, which also help to promote healthy digestion. And good digestive health is thought to promote a healthy immune system. I've been taking these a few days now, and I'm excited to see how these help just my overall digestive health in the coming weeks. Oh, and I feel like I should definitely talk about the taste because these are surprisingly good. The flavor is citrus ginger, and I read on their website that they actually had a pastry chef help develop the taste of these, and I believe it because they actually taste good, and I look forward to eating these. These are so good. So if you're interested in learning more about Jim bites or trying them for yourself, be sure to check out the link in the description below. All right, it's a new day. It's beautiful outside. We're ready to get back to focusing on this little bench area, and I've thought about it a little bit more, and I'm not too worried about having my table now. I'm gonna go ahead and start building it because I don't think it actually matters that much. Right here. We're ready to go build some things. My plan is to use all the shiplap that I pulled off the walls to cover my benches, and so these aren't going to be pretty. I just need to get them to the correct size with 2x4s, and so this should be a pretty quick build. All right, now I have all of my boards cut, and so it's time to assemble, and this is like really basic building and should go really fast. Side number one in my bench, done. All right, so now I have the main part of my benches built, but I need to cut a few more short pieces to connect them. So, oh, oopsies. I'm gonna go ahead and add pocket holes to all of these because I think that'll be the easiest way to assemble everything. And so I'm all set up, and I'm gonna get to going because it's a lot of pocket holes. That's not right. Oh shoot. Oopsies. I forgot to adjust my little Craig jig here. All right, so I have them all cut. I got my pocket holes added. Now I'm just gonna attach them on the top and the bottom on both ends of my two side pieces. Whoa, wow, that was close. Look, got my bench. Woohoo! With a hole. Oh shoot, don't fall. All right, we're gonna go test these out. Yay, they fit. Okay, now I need to start working on cutting shiplap because I'm gonna cover all of my exposed edges with shiplap. All right, I'm gonna start on my corner here because I can put these two pieces like this, and then I don't have to have any like fresh cuts for my corners, but I'll probably have to use my table saw. I mean, unless by some miracle these like fit perfectly, which is very unlikely. I'll use my table saw to cut my pieces at the end. So, start here. All right, today I'm gonna work on finishing the rest of my bench, which means I'm gonna be adding a portion to the wall using my leftover shiplap. I went ahead and figured out how high I want it to go, so I've cut one piece and I'm just gonna use this to mark on my other boards so I can cut a whole lot of pieces and hopefully I'll have enough.
Nice work.
Yep, once I got inside, I may have gotten a little bit sidetracked with some design decisions. Here's my rug. Look at my rug. What do you think about? Is the color okay?
I love it.
I used my level and my nail gun to attach the 1x3 to the wall. Then I again used my level to attach my first shiplap board so that the rest of my boards after it would also be straight. Alright, it's my last little piece to finish off the top. You will fit. With my last two pieces cut and installed, this bench was almost finished. All right, to finish off my bench, I'm gonna go ahead and add baseboard around the edges. That's perfect. Yay! All right, today we're shifting gears a little bit and we're gonna focus on the next phase of this project, which will be a ceiling treatment. So again, I'm gonna be using the same shiplap panels that I've used in some of our previous projects. One of the big reasons why I wanna add something to the ceiling is because the ceiling texture in both of these rooms is just so bad. Like, we had to patch a huge section here, so the texture is different. It's really heavy. It has always stood out to me. So I've got a couple things I need to pull off the ceiling, then we're gonna get started with measuring and making our first cuts. I'm gonna start with this end of the room, partly because I usually like to start with the more difficult side of the room first. So this is it, because I've got this little weird cutout there, but now that I've got my stuff off the ceiling and that last little piece of trim down, I can go ahead and measure for my little cutout there, and then for the light fixture, and get this first piece up.
And the tape measure was definitely not wanting to cooperate.
Oh. No. I'm about to throw this. I'm like, I can do it. No! I just need to measure it.
Sometimes Andrea likes to get creative with her measuring tape.
See that? Yes. After measuring for my first piece, we headed outside to the garage to grab our first shiplap panel. We decided to bring the panels inside to cut because it had been raining on and off all morning and it was currently sprinkling just a little bit.
It's a little sprinkle tinkle. But before we went inside, we had a little disagreement as I thought this board could fit through the window, and so we had to give it a test.
They could.
Nope, there's no way.
Yes,
Don't
it
even.
will.
It will not.
And as you might guess,
Nope, not even close.
Yeah, it's super close.
No, it's not. It's not even good.
Andrea won.
How did you know that?
I'm good at estimating things visually. So it's sprinkling outside, so we're gonna bring several panels inside and just make cuts in here. It's already a little bit messy. Stop. So it is what it is. I can't do it outside because it's raining.
Is what it is.
And after multiple runs, our hands were really starting to feel it.
Why did we do 2 at a time?
I don't know. That hurts. Alright, I got my work material set up here. We're making do. It's like, now it's pouring. So that was good timing. We got a lot of panels inside. Once we had the first several panels in the room, I grabbed a few extra chairs and set up a makeshift work table and started making my marks on my first panel. After measuring and making my first several marks, I realized I had made a bit of a mistake. Oh. I think I measured that wrong. And needed to trim off the end of my panel before measuring and marking again. After trimming off the end of the panel, I was ready to remeasure and get this panel finished. I only had one ceiling light to cut around, and so once I finished cutting that out, I was ready to test fit this panel. Okay. Oh my gosh.
You put your face through the circle. Where's Andrea?
Andrea decided to do this dry fit solo, and things got a little wild.
Oh, oh my. Oh, oh.
I don't even know how I'm supposed to tell if this fits.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna go with yes.
God.
Once I had somewhat confirmed that it fit, but felt good enough about it, I was ready to add glue. Got my glue. This time I got a little smarter and we used the tripod so Doxy could help me lift it up to the ceiling to install. With the first panel successfully installed, I was ready to move on to panel number 2. After measuring and trimming off the bottom of the panel, I was ready to measure and mark so I could cut out for the air vent. Okay, let's put the camera on a tripod. I like to do a test fit first because it would be a lot easier to make any needed adjustments without having glue all over the back of my panel already.
The chair, the same.
After successfully installing 2 panels, I felt like I was gaining a bit of momentum and was ready to move on to number 3. Since this panel only had 1 obstacle to cut around, I felt like being a little risky and decided not to do a tri-fit before adding my glue. And thankfully, it fit. For panel number 4, I had 1 ceiling light to remove before measuring.
It's like a Dumb and Dumber skit or something. Okay. Yes! I can do this.
At this point, we had about 5 minutes until it was time to leave to pick up all of our kids from school, but we decided that was more than enough time to hold the panel in place and nail it to the ceiling.
Well, correction, Andrea decided that it was enough time.
Well, it would have been enough time if my nail gun hadn't run out of nails.
Hey, Dean! This only happens if you're in a time crunch. Right. Oh, you did?
What's happening? Take 3 to tango. Welcome to my world.
Okay, can you hold that in? Doxy has to go.
Oh, goodness.
Move it a little bit. Oh, well.
No. Okay.
How's yours, David?
It's been a lot quieter than this, yeah.
Oh, you're still here. Did it start falling?
Yeah.
Now someone else knows my pain.
Oh my gosh.
Hey! Ow. You had to call me out of retirement for this?
Finally, we got this thing installed, and that was the end of day number 1.
All right, today we're gonna be finishing up the shiplap. Hopefully, we had to take a little bit of a pause because our drywall guys came the last couple of days to patch up all of the drywall. They're gonna come back tomorrow and finish taping and floating everything. But it's looking so much better, and that's really good because once I finish this, there's a lot that I won't be able to do without the drywall finished. So things are moving along. My bookshelves will come out to right here, so I don't really need to have it go like, you know, perfectly to the wall, but I'll just get close to give me some wiggle room. There's my tape measure for when I can't find it in 10 minutes.
For the first panel of the day, I was cutting this last piece that would fit up above the bookshelves, and this one should be pretty easy as I had no obstacles or light fixtures to cut around.
All right, so now we finished the big side of the room. So I just have this little section left with not too many obstacles to cut around, but I'm gonna go ahead and take down my vent cover and probably this first light here. So we can get our first panel up.
The first panel on this side of the room was going to take a bit more time as I had an air vent and a light fixture to measure around, and my new light fixture was going to be a different size than the old one.
Really heavy.
After we finished installing panel number 6, I was ready to move on to number 7 as soon as I found my tape measure.
Where's my tape measure? Every single time. I'm like, how much of my project do I spend?
Andrea?
Like, for real.
Andrea?
It wasn't even working. Do you see it?
Yes.
I didn't clip it onto me.
Nope.
This feels like a game. I'm like, gosh.
After installing panels for almost 2 full days, I was more than ready to be done, so I was moving as quickly as possible while also trying not to make any mistakes. After finishing up panel number 7, I reinstalled the light fixture and was finally ready to move on to the final panel of this room.
One more little piece. I don't think I want to shiplap anything for a really long time.
And with this last panel, I was moving faster than ever.
Outside. I don't have any more panels inside, so we're gonna cut this one out.
And if you haven't noticed, Andrea likes to get really creative with her sawhorses.
Oh no. No, 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 no.
What? Oh, you did it the wrong.
Is that the right spot? Oh, maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. I'm just gonna carry it inside. Man, this messes with my brain.
And after 2 days of shiplap, I think Andrea was starting to go a little bit cuckoo.
I thought I had that hole at the wrong end of the board. We're done! Did it! We're done with the shiplap. I don't think I'm doing shiplap panels again. Oh, I need to have some nails. I'm almost done. We're done. No more shiplap panels. That's it. All right, today I'm going to attempt to start tackling reassembling this bench area and the bookshelves. And if you remember, we had all of this torn out when we discovered the water and the mold problem on this end of the house. And so I was not the one to demo all of this. So I'm not really sure how it goes back together. It's gonna feel a little bit like putting a puzzle back together. I do think they salvaged most of the materials, but I'm not even sure about that. So we're gonna go in the garage and start bringing in what we can and see if we can figure it out.
Thankfully, when everything was demoed, we made sure to set everything aside in one spot so it would be easy to locate later. This is part of the bookshelf. I'm putting my bench items there, my bookshelf stuff here. I don't know how much of the bench stuff I'm gonna salvage though. It's a little broken. That is so many nails.
Andrea's morning coffee had yet to kick in, and so she was feeling a little bit grumpy.
Part of me is like, why did y'all have to rip all this out? It was unnecessary.
And getting poked by a nail wasn't helping.
Ow! Golly. Little nail. Once I had all of my pieces inside, it was time to try and figure out how this all fit together.
Let me see if this is the piece that goes. Oh, why does it not go the whole length? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, I might just have to do this differently than it was before. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start taking the nails out of this board.
And it wouldn't be a real project unless Andrea banged some stuff around.
Oh, a little spider.
Bye-bye, spider.
By the time I finished removing all of the nails, I felt like I was getting some good momentum, and then I made a frustrating discovery.
Oh no! Did they seriously like break this? Ah! No! They cracked this piece in half. That's frustrating. Okay.
After getting over my initial frustration, I got back to work and finished removing the rest of the nails on the bench.
Next, Andrea decided to test fit the trim on the edge of the bench, and unfortunately, she wouldn't catch a break here either.
I think they cut this trim piece. Look at that! Like, what good does that do? Do you see my tape measure?
Think it's outside?
Yes. I need to measure for some of these pieces because I'm gonna have to buy, well, I'm gonna have to buy a lot of new trim for this. 13 feet, that's so annoying.
Why is it annoying?
Oh, because it could be 12 feet and then I could get a 12-foot board. All right, I think I have enough of a game plan and I've figured out what pieces I have to where I've made a list of what all I need. So I'm gonna kind of pivot and take a look at the bookshelves to figure out what I need for these because I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna do a Lowe's delivery for this stuff. So I'm gonna start piecing together what I have on this and figure out what's missing and what I need to order. So that's gotta be where that goes. Okay, I've got everything but the plywood. I need to go see if I have any of that in the garage and then I'm gonna go ahead and get all this ordered. Oh, I think I see more. Oh, I would say don't tell Dean, but he'll be watching the footage. Oopsies.
Babe?
Oh, this looks like it'll be long enough. Yay. Ah, yes. All right, it's time to order some stuff. The next day, after all of my materials were delivered, I was finally ready to start rebuilding this bench. I started by laying the existing plywood pieces onto my new piece of plywood so I could trace the shape perfectly. It's so cold.
The weather has finally gotten cold here in Texas, and don't laugh, but we're not used to this cold stuff.
I have 2 pairs of pants on though.
Same.
I don't like being cold.
Gotta be prepared.
I'm just using my jigsaw on this piece just because of all the little angled cuts and stuff. I don't really want to use my circular saw, so that's what I'm doing. After I finished making my cuts, I brought my boards inside and was ready to start installing. Unfortunately, after I started nailing my first board in place, I noticed something was a little bit off. Oh, wait. Has that board like worked?
Thankfully, since I had only added a few nails so far, it was an easy fix and I was able to tap it in place and continue nailing it.
All right. This feels like the moment of truth, seeing if this piece fits. Like these fit.
And thank goodness, with just a little bit of wiggling and adjusting, my new piece of plywood fit perfectly.
It fits like a glove. It's perfect. All right, now I'm gonna start working on some of the little trim pieces that finish this area out. And I think I've got like a short, what really is a baseboard piece that I'm gonna use right here because it looks the most similar to what was there before. So I'm gonna go grab those. All right, so that piece fits. I just have to measure for this last little piece here. So these little corner trim pieces are gonna cover this up, and I'm gonna go ahead and notch or mark for where I wanna notch on my first board so I can go cut this at the same time as my little piece down there. So now I've got to measure for this piece, and then I'll mark my little notch on this one and go make some cuts. All right, so now I have my second little corner piece all notched out and hopefully cut to the right length. I do want this one to be really precise, so I might have to come back and trim it a little bit. Please fit. Woohoo! All right, I'm gonna change gears a little bit because I don't want to finish trimming out like around this whole built-in area because I don't want to add this piece yet because I still need to be able to move my bookcases out. So I'm gonna shift over this way and start focusing on this area. To get my bookshelves reinstalled, I need to build them up just a little bit, and so I figured out that just a 2x4 on its side, so 1.5 inches is about the perfect height to raise them. I'm gonna measure really quick for how big I want my boxes to be, and then I can go start making cuts on some 2x4s.
These boxes for underneath the bookshelves will be fairly simple builds that just require a lot of the same cuts. After making all of my cuts, it was time to make a lot of pocket holes.
All right, I have all of my pieces cut now with my pocket holes, so I'm gonna go ahead and start assembling, and hopefully this goes pretty fast. I might have to take my gloves off. Oh my gosh, I'm about to do this wrong. How cool would that be if I assembled it all incorrectly and then got inside? One down. Woo! Go inside. It's so cold. I just try and keep telling myself, I'm like, I can't wait for this room to be done. Like, it's gonna be, that's gonna feel so good. All right, so I have my little base supports all built now. Now I'm gonna figure out how to get these underneath my shelves without scratching the floor. That's kind of my big concern. I don't want to slide stuff around, and so I think it's time for a tripod.
Since there wasn't much space above the shelves, it made moving them around and getting these supports under them way more difficult than it looked, and it was definitely a two-person job.
Woohoo!
After getting the first bookshelf set in place, we had figured out what we were doing and were able to move pretty quickly.
Now I have a few random like trim pieces that I need to figure out and make sure everything is exactly where it's supposed to be before I start finding my old screw holes. I can see some. What makes it a little bit more difficult is I was not the one to pull these out, and so I'm not as like familiar or really familiar at all with how they pulled these out. I'm gonna see if I can get these last little pieces of trim that we salvaged in place before I start attaching everything. I just want to make sure it's like exactly where it was before. So I have some trim pieces that I'm figuring out are missing. I knew I had like a little piece on the front bottom and the front top, but I think that needs to extend in between my bookshelves too. So I'm gonna go grab some 1x2s just to make sure that that's the right thickness. I just wanna make sure everything is set like in the exact right spot before I start. Just kidding, I grabbed 1x4s because I had like some short pieces just to test fit.
Once I had made decisions on what size boards to use where, I started taking measurements. With my measurements all written down, I was ready to head outside and start making cuts. After I finished making all of my cuts, I took my boards inside and was ready to install them. After I finished installing all of the missing trim pieces, I was ready to start attaching these bookshelves together and securing them to the wall and ceiling.
All right, next I'm gonna go ahead and work on trimming out this opening here. I have a couple of reasons for doing that. One, these drywall corners have not been very great with kids. I feel like they just get dinged up and it just doesn't look very good. It's not quite as strong as having wood trim on your corners. And two, since I'll be wallpapering, I think it'll look a whole lot better to have trim around this opening and make it a cased opening. That way my wallpaper can just end nice and clean at my trim and I'm not trying to wallpaper all these weird edges here. I think it'll look so much better. So I'm gonna work on doing that next.
To get started, I used my table saw to rip down a 1x6 so that it would be the exact width of the existing opening. I then used my miter saw to cut them to length. I used my nail gun to attach the boards in place and then was ready to move on to the trim that would go around the opening. I cut and installed all of the vertical trim pieces first so that I could get a more accurate measurement for my horizontal trim once these were installed. Measuring for this top piece of trim was definitely a two-person job, and so I grabbed Dean to help hold the tape measure.
Jedi. It's the Friday Jedi.
After writing down my measurements, I cut my final pieces of trim and then installed them using my nail gun.
All right, now I'm gonna focus on finishing up these little last pieces of trim on my little bay window wall.
The boards that I used to span the width of this space unfortunately didn't come in long enough lengths to go the entire distance across, but with a little bit of wood filler, I don't think that seam will be visible.
And I also need some kind of baseboard. I can't do my actual like 5-inch baseboards because of the drawers, so I just need something to finish the bottom edge. I might play around with either adding the same kind of piece I did here or just a quarter round. All right, next I'm gonna add trim to the bottom of my bookshelves. It's one of those things that's probably barely noticeable, but if you step back once it's all painted, you'll be able to see the 2x4s and it'll just look a little bit rough. So I might have to trim down my 1x2 just a little bit to make it fit cleanly, but it's essentially like a baseboard at the bottom, or a toe kick at the bottom of all of my bookshelves.
And here's the basic scoop on the insurance situation, my friends. They covered the cost of installing new flooring in the downstairs due to the pipe bursting in our wall, but they determined that the mold issue in this back room of the house was not caused by the pipe bursting, which we agreed with, but instead they said the cause of the mold was from flash flooding that was leaking in through the foundation of the house, and therefore it was not a quote catastrophic event, even though we had a flood clause within our plan. We tried to show adjusters that the leak actually appeared to be coming from an AC unit, which was positioned inside a closet in this room, but they just didn't see it that way. And finally, after months of going back and forth, we were just done. So that's when we changed our thinking from, hey, we'll hire this whole job out, to, you know what, we're just gonna have to do this ourselves.
All right, so we're pivoting a little bit, but it's for some really exciting news, and that is we've had a company reach out to us and offer to work with us on a new air conditioning for this side of the house, which is actually really needed. We just couldn't fit it in the budget, but that also means that we can move the new AC to the attic, and we don't have to have this AC closet and the soffit that goes with it. So I get to change my plans completely for this area over here and have a much bigger desk area for our boys, which I'm so excited about. That also means we need to return these cabinets and go get some different ones. So I'm working on some plans, we're figuring out what we need, and then we're gonna head back to the cabinet store. After returning the cabinets I initially bought, we picked out new cabinets that would work with my new and much improved design. Because we're taking out the AC closet, that means I'm gonna have a lot more open wall space, which means more cabinets. All right, we got all the cabinets. Thankfully, they had exactly what I needed. I even learned there's more sizes than I knew because I don't usually use the short cabinets that go like up above the fridge and stuff, but they had it all, so that's good. We're gonna go ahead and go by the paint store and get a couple of samples. I brought my wallpaper with me, and I brought one little color swatch that I think is the one that I want, but I'll probably try and get another one as well. I was like, please don't break. Thankfully, the paint sample didn't break open, and we were ready to head back home and unload these cabinets. So we are actually ready to finally demo this whole area. Look at this, if I can open it. No more AC in the closet. There is a gas line that I'm gonna have a plumber come and remove, but I can still demo these walls around it, and I'll just be careful not to hammer that. Shouldn't be too hard. But this has been here since we moved here, and it's always been kind of an eyesore and a little bit of a bummer, but also as a playroom, and there wasn't really any other options at the time. But now that we've kind of redone our floors and I have extra flooring, and we're gonna be painting and wallpapering and doing all this stuff anyway, it was kind of like the perfect time. And I'm so excited because it's gonna look so much better and it's gonna be so functional for our family. It's about to get a little bit messy. This first part of demo was relatively straightforward, but it was definitely a good workout as some of these nails holding the studs in place were huge. Oh my gosh, those are some big nails. Ow!
Losing steam.
It's hard to like swing.
Yeah.
Next, it was time to focus on removing this old AC closet, which would be a little bit more complicated.
So I have not just the gas line, which is this that went to our old AC that was in here because it was gas, but there's also some other kind of aluminum pipe that I don't know, or I'm calling it aluminum. It's not copper, that's what I thought it was at first. It has paint on it, so it's a little bit hard to tell, but I'm not sure what that is, and it's going through the 2x4s, and so I might just take out what I can without hitting that since I don't know what it is. We're gonna demo a little bit, but we can't do as much as I thought.
I decided to remove the drywall from inside the closet so that I didn't risk hitting the electrical or gas line, and this part was pretty fun. Demoing all these old boards and seeing just how filthy dirty it is underneath everything makes me even more glad that we're removing it all and putting nice clean flooring down. Some of these 2x4s were being quite stubborn, and it probably took me a good 45 minutes to get all of them out.
And after this much demo, it started to look like a tornado had gone through this playroom.
So next I moved on to cleanup, and there was a lot of it. I started by throwing the 2x4s and larger items out the window, and then Doxy and I grabbed a couple of contractor bags and started picking up the rest by hand. After finishing up demo, we had to hit pause on the work inside, so we decided to make the most of our time by going on an exciting treasure hunt. All right, we're gonna make attempt number 2 at trying to find a table for the playroom. We're kind of in between stuff right now, and there's not a lot we can work on while we wait for the AC stuff, and so hopefully we can find something. We're gonna try another vintage store that I haven't actually been to before, but I follow some of her social media accounts, and I know that she has furniture sometimes, so. After looking around for a bit, I wasn't feeling particularly optimistic, but when we walked to the back of the store, we discovered this hidden gem of a table. So I was not expecting to actually find a table. It's like a little bit on the small end, but it might work. I just want to think about it for a little bit, but other than that, it's like perfect. I love like the shape of it, the legs. Like I'm gonna go measure. We might be back and get it, which would be crazy because I've been looking on Marketplace for weeks and weeks, and sorry, just gonna go back to the house and measure because I really think that that table might work, or maybe I just really want it to work because it's been so long. It's been months, like 2 months I've been looking for this a table for in there. I mean, it's like, it's basically the same size. It's an inch different. Actually would hit the middle nicely, like,
Okay, I'm kind of like, we should just get it. You wait, you got a video of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you have my phone? I like it.
And since the stars were aligned, that left only one thing to do.
We're back. We're doing it. Doing the play table.
And anytime Andrea can buy a piece of furniture, it's a good day.
It's true. I do love a good antique find, especially when it's a great deal and literally 5 minutes from my house.
How are we feeling?
I can't believe we found a table. That was such a random, spontaneous thing, and nobody ever has little pedestal tables like that here.
Which meant there was only one logical way to celebrate.
Celebratory coffee. That felt like such a win.
It was such a win.
This is the first shot of this. We haven't seen this yet.
Wow, it looks incredible.
They have to come back and tape and float it all, but look at it. So now I need to build up this little patch of flooring here because the rest of the floor has plywood under it. It's built up just a little bit, so I had enough scrap plywood to cut pieces to puzzle together down here, but I'm going to vacuum it really good and pull out my planks on that side and then go ahead and glue this down so that tomorrow I can put the new flooring in all the way across.
Wait, I thought you were vacuuming.
Well, I'm probably going to make some more dust when I pull this out, so see, like that.
Wiggle that thing.
It ends like perfectly on a clean piece right there, so that's nice and convenient.
Where are you going?
To get my vacuum, man.
Oh.
With the floors all clean, I grabbed my scrap pieces of plywood and some liquid nails and was ready to get this area filled in.
More mayo?
Yeah, plywood sandwiches. There goes it.
What's happening now?
Okay, I need a little bit more height on it.
Okay, so this is double layer. Is this kind of like getting double marshmallow on your s'mores or double chocolate, would you say?
I don't really like s'mores.
You don't like s'mores? What's next?
I'm gonna try and put that cabinet on top of it to like weigh it down.
This is the creative way to hold your boards in place.
Yeah.
You're so
Watch.
creative, babe. I feel like this spot is going to get the most improved award for the year.
Yeah, for real.
It's like, obviously it's looking really rough right now, but this thing's gonna look so good.
It's going to look even better than you. Whoa, no, I'm just
Thanks.
kidding. Not really. What are we doing here?
I gotta show you how the cabinets are gonna go.
Hmm.
So these are gonna sit on top of my desktop in the middle. Those drawers will go on the bottom in the middle.
Little
like
dimension. Little
above.
dimension.
Above each side. Like this. Look at all that storage. And then there will be crown molding at the top.
So did that make it incredibly clear for everyone like it did for me? I feel like I just know exactly what's going on here. Thanks, babe. Thank you.
Do you really not understand?
It's clear as mud, babe. Thanks. Really appreciate that.
Will you hold it up for me? Because I kind of want to look at it. I need to visualize top of that one, but back a little bit. Back a little bit more.
More?
A little bit more.
Seriously more?
Yes, seriously more, like another inch. There you go.
Okay. Wow. Did you just say wow?
Look at those glutes, man.
The next morning, our drywall guys were back to do the first coat of tape and float on the newly installed drywall.
All right, we have like 30 minutes or less while the drywall guys are gone. They just did the initial tape and float on everything, but it needs to get tacky before they do like a final float on it. So there's a fan going, it's a little bit loud, but really quick, I want to try and cut the bottom off of this base cabinet. When you buy them, they're like 34 inches tall, I think, and I want it about 30 inches tall, so it's desktop height instead of counter height. And I can do that by cutting off this little 4-inch bottom section. Alright, so got my cabinet cut to size. I'm still kind of feel like we're playing tag with the drywall guys. They'll be back soon, but they're not back yet, and so before I can actually start building any of this stuff, obviously they need to finish floating all the drywall, but I also need to extend flooring over, and so I'm gonna go ahead and start on that, and if they get here while I'm in the middle of it, I can stop that pretty easily and move on to something else, but I'm gonna grab my stuff and hopefully we'll get this like floored before they come over. This is getting exciting.
As I was installing these last two pieces, I could hear our drywall guy's truck pulling into our driveway.
So fast.
Not fast enough. I was like, I'm on my last piece, and I hear the truck. They literally just pulled in, and I got my last pieces in as he came inside. So I'm gonna let them finish this, and then hopefully they'll be done. Start putting my cabinets in place. Whew. All right, so I'm gonna build a box out of 2x4s, and this is for like the middle of my desktop. I'm gonna have the cabinets that go all the way down to the desktop, and then above each side there's gonna be a little cabinet, but I want them offset from each other to where they're not all the same depth. So I'm gonna bring my middle ones out 3.5 inches. So I'm gonna build a box for that. It'll make more sense as I'm installing it all, but that's what we're gonna do next.
The first thing I did was cut all of my 2x4s down to size. With all of my pieces cut, I was ready to start assembling using some wood screws.
All right, so next I'm gonna cut a couple of scrap 1x4s I have to the width of my upper cabinets, because I've already measured and I know I'm gonna have about this big of a gap. Like, it's a little bit more than a 1x4, so even though I'm doing crown molding, it's a little more that I can cover with crown molding. And so I'm gonna have these that are gonna attach to the tops of my cabinets just to fill that space in, and then my crown molding will sit, you know, off of these. I'm gonna go ahead and cut those.
Right as I finished making my cuts, our drywall guys finished up inside, and so I grabbed Dean's help to start moving the cabinets into place.
D team. Go where? And after seeing one cabinet in place, Andrea started to get some wild ideas.
I really want to cut that desktop and put that on. I feel like that's what we should do.
After taking some measurements, I went outside to start getting ready to cut my desktop.
All right, I'm actually gonna use my jigsaw to cut this little end piece for a couple of reasons. Partly because when we measure, the wall is actually not straight, and so this is kind of an easy way to get it at a slight angle. And also because I only need to trim this little end off, and it is so heavy, I can't support it very well for my miter saw here, and so this just feels safer. I have it clamped down too, but and I got a fresh blade on here. Hopefully this blade's long enough to make it all the way through.
What does that mean? That doesn't give me very much confidence. I hope.
This thing is so heavy. Oh my gosh. Ow, it's hurting my hand.
Do you need help?
Actually, come get the doors. This is hurting my hand so bad. Ow.
And after refusing my help to carry the board inside, Andrea was in no mood to let the drywall dry before doing a test fit on this desktop.
Is it gonna fit?
Yeah. Oh shoot. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, can we just try one more time?
We're scraping it off more.
Right now we are?
Yes.
Okay.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say we're gonna trim this puppy down a little bit, huh? No comment. She is heavy into it right now. You do not want to disturb her. Maybe I need to make dinner tonight. Test fit number 2.
But unfortunately, no matter which way we tried it, and after scraping off a little more drywall compound, this thing just wasn't going to fit.
Round 3.
I trimmed off just a little bit more, and we were both hoping and praying that the third time would be a charm.
Test fit number 3.
And after finally getting this thing successfully installed after many failed attempts, Andrea was extra excited.
I'm not gonna tell you why that hurt, but that hurt. Alright, looks like your plan's on its way. Looks like your plan is on the way.
Feeling good about it.
Looks like your plan is on the way. Yes, third time's a charm.
Did you have your hand up before?
Three times.
I'm sorry, I didn't even see it.
You jerk.
All right, so before we actually start installing these cabinets, I want to get the rest of the shiplap up. Hopefully this will go pretty fast. We did a lot of this already.
We're hitting the wall and we're taking out drywall.
Oh, sorry, just set it down a little bit. I gotta put some glue on it.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot glue. Just kidding, I did that just for you, babe.
Hopefully my belly button's not showing.
Gosh, I forgot how much this hurts my shoulders.
And it turns out this panel was going to be a bit more tricky than we first anticipated.
Oh, shoot.
That's what I was saying. I don't know if we're there on this end. I need a chair.
Okay, get a chair.
I just need you to hold that up in the seam so I can tap it. And you can tell me.
Nothing does wonders for your marriage like a DIY project together. Are you doing the second one right now? Or?
I have another one. I don't have it cut yet because I can measure. You don't have to help with it. It's up to you.
What does that mean? You don't have to help with it. It's up to you. So if I say no, what happens, huh? I said yes.
Can you help me hold this board?
Coming, babe.
Over there, go on that side.
Okay.
And there's a good mark. It goes to the brown side of it.
I really thought I had it like correct in my mind.
Alright, so before I put this cabinet up, I'm actually going to go ahead and put this 1x4 that I cut down yesterday on top of it. This is going to help close that gap up at the top, and then there'll still be a little bit of a gap, but my crown molding will cover the rest of it. It's just going to be a lot easier to attach this now. I went ahead and added pocket holes to the back, so I'm going to use some, I've got pocket hole screws in here somewhere, to attach that, and then I'll put it up and screw it to the 2x4s. Alright, now that I have these installed, I need to cut some thin pieces of plywood to cover my sides, because not only do I have the seam between my cabinets, but of course I have the seam between the cabinets and then the 2x4s behind it, and I want to do that before I put my cabinets up here, just because, you know, they'll go in between those. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and use some more of my liquid nails to attach these. I'll add a few nails, but I don't want to do any nails on this middle portion here because they'll go through my, like the sides of my cabinet, but I'm going to add some glue just to hold it in place on the rest of it. Alright, now I have this whole middle section done and I can focus on getting these two cabinets up. We need to grab some help and attach them to the wall. I saved your favorite job for you. Holding cabinets above your head while I screw. Ah.
How did I know?
Oh, you know what? Actually, I want to attach this first. I'm sorry. Can I do that real quick?
You don't need me yet.
Well, I need you in like a minute. Okay, so I need to attach this just like I did on my middle cabinets. I almost forgot, and that would have been annoying. But I'm going to do that, and then, Dean, you can...
Okay. Am I here to help you put cabinets up, or am I here to help you finish your sentences? I love that sound. Nothing like it. Can I use this?
No.
I really want to.
Babe, you're kind of scared me.
I just want to use it a little bit. Just like 3 or 4 times. Okay.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay, are you holding it? Because I'm going to let go.
I am holding it, yeah. Trust me. Trusting. Trusting.
Now you should be able to let go.
I feel like Nacho Libre.
Okay. Stop. Can you let go?
Finally, after what felt like a lot more work than I thought it would be, we had these cabinets fully installed.
Well, are you satisfied with your work?
Yes. All right, next I'm gonna go ahead and put our paint samples that we grabbed a few weeks ago up on the wall. I wanna go ahead and get them up now so I have a little bit of time to think about it and see it like in different lights, but I'm gonna put it up in a few places in the room too, just because the lighting is so different. Plus, when I can see other color like the green that's already there, I feel like it can influence it quite a bit. So I'll put some over here, I'll do some by our built-ins, and that's probably good enough. So that was my evening grove color. So this next one is bay leaf, and it's a little bit lighter. I think the one I was leaning towards was the darker one, but honestly I can't even remember at this point. So, all right, next I want to get started on crown molding, but first in this little area I have one more little piece that I need to add, and that is a filler piece for the side up here. I need to fill that in, and then we can start measuring for crown molding.
After taking some initial measurements, I headed outside to cut my filler piece for the right side of my cabinets.
Go test it out.
All right, so I've got my last little piece of filler in, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started on crown molding. When I do this, I like to just draw like a little sketch of my profile here, because then I can look at it and see, oh, my corner, it's this kind of corner, so I know what kind of cut to make. It just helps me keep it straight. I'm gonna get my measurements, draw a little picture of this little wall here. We'll start making some cuts. Okay, I had to test out my first like corner before I actually cut them to length, because at this point if I mess up, I'm wasting this much. But if I cut it to length and figure out I had my angles wrong, now I've wasted, 3 feet. Things were moving along nicely until I made a bit of a silly mistake. Oh, I cut the wrong end off. I'm such an idiot. Oh no, I didn't. Good, it's upside down. I was like, ah! It turns out I didn't make a mistake, but working with crown molding can play tricks on your mind. We're good, we're good. I've laid them out in like the order just so I could keep it straight in my head. And then that way too, I can stack them up in order so that when I bring them in, I'll just install them in that same order. This feels like a moment of truth here. I'm gonna start on this side because I've got that giant gap. We'll see if it can be covered. Yes, okay. After getting the first few pieces installed, I was starting to get really excited. Oh my gosh, okay, now I gotta finish this because that's wild. After finishing the first half of the room, I repeated the same process on the other side. And as usual, step 1 was to try and nail down all of my measurements. I'm done. I'm probably gonna time lapse this side. Y'all have seen enough crown molding. I got it all. All right, now I've got all my crown molding done, but I need to do baseboards. Thankfully, I don't actually have that many baseboards because I already did them around the built-in bench over there whenever we built that. But I do need to add built-ins to this half of the room. I mean built-ins. I do have to add baseboards to this half of the room and then a little bit more on the other side. And then I think after that, I'm like done with trim. All right, I've got my drywall spackling, it's the pink stuff so I can tell when it's dry. I'm gonna get started. I like to use my finger to apply this, but for most of this, I'll probably just fill it and then rub away the excess so I don't have to do too much sanding. On these big flat surfaces, I will do a light sanding because you can just see it. Once you paint over it, you see that little smudge. And so usually it is really important to do like even just a quick sanding afterwards. But this is about the time when I'm like, why did I put so many nails and everything? Even though this process is definitely tedious and not the most fun job, it is 100% worth it and really does give you that professional level finish in the end.
As the girls finished up, Andrea called me into the room to help with something that she hadn't quite put her finger on yet.
Well, I'm gonna need, after I finish this, I'm gonna have to like sand it all and then vacuum it all and then wipe it all and then start caulking. I need to just do one thing at a time.
I think she was just looking for a little encouragement and support, and that's what I gave her. Jeez, that's a lot of caulking. My goodness.
Thank you for your encouragement.
Sorry. I just feel like you're going to be caulking for about 2 solid hours.
How much time do you have? Do you want to help me sand some of the nails?
I probably got like 30 seconds. I'm a pretty, I'm on a lot of calls these days. Really busy. I could sand. Do you have sandpaper, or you're saying you have to get that?
I have to go get it out of the garage.
Oh, I thought you meant from Lowe's.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna have to warm it up though, for sure. Do I look like Nacho Libre right now?
You, sand the holes.
Yes.
Toxic and film. I'm gonna figure out this weird spot on the thing.
Sir. What is a hole? Like, I'm not seeing. I'm just gonna sand the whole ceiling because I can't see any holes. If I'm perfectly honest, my job was so boring that I was finding weird ways to entertain myself. I'm DIY Dean, and this is my DIY wife. I've been doing renovations for years. As long as you have a first grade education, you too can sand the ceilings. You can be trusted with an important job like sanding nail holes.
That is an important job.
But you're only paying me minimum wage, babe. Okay, so next we're gonna be sanding some more nail holes. I started on this end and I'm gonna be just moving down that way, sanding hole after hole. And that's pretty much all I'm gonna be doing. All right, let's get started.
All right, while he sands, got some nice background noise here.
What's the issue?
I'm gonna try and fix this little area where the shelf that used to go up here connected to this shelf. I've kind of scraped off as much of the old caulk as I can, and then I've got some nice thick sandpaper here.
DIY power
A
coat.
little bit dusty. You're like sanding right above your head. Do you want to ask?
What am I supposed to do? Okay, so what we're gonna be doing next is we're gonna keep sanding nail holes in the ceiling. I would say I'm about 2/3 of the way done. That's about 66.6 of the way done.
I feel like you're making fun of me.
I'm not at all, babe. Honestly, something about this process is kind of romantic. Let's just kind of do it back and forth.
This family channel thing.
We're done with the crown molding sanding, so next Andrea's gonna be...
No. There's crown molding in here too. I just can't reach it on that side. I don't have the wall.
Right now, Andrea is hammering the wall for pretty much no reason.
Not for no reason.
She's taking out her anger. Whoa, hey.
Alright, so I have a little bit more cleanup to do before I can start the vacuum cleanup. We're gonna get the rest of the stuff out of here. People always ask why don't I empty the room whenever we're like doing these kind of projects, and it's just a space issue. And I don't want to look at this like out in my kitchen for months, so. Alright, we almost have the room empty, but I need help getting this table and chairs out of here, so we can get this out of the way finally. So I'm gonna grab Dee and we're gonna get that done. Ow! My shin! Ow! Gosh, that really hurt! Ow! Ugh. I feel like we need to maybe twist it the other way. I'm sorry, like turn it 180.
Okay. Hurry ho! Oh, it's a big boy.
Okay, but next I need to vacuum everything, so I'm gonna do a little vacuuming. You know, that sounds like a simple thing. I'm gonna do a couple of layers of vacuuming because it is so dirty. So I'm gonna try and get a lot of the big stuff with my shop vac. And then we have a really good vacuum with a HEPA filter, and then it has like a brush attachment too that's really good on floors and flat surfaces. So I'm probably actually gonna use that one to go through and do like the ceilings, and I might even go ahead and mop the floors, honestly.
Oh, why not? Yeah.
All right, so I finished vacuuming and then mopping everything, and now it's time to wipe everything else down that I couldn't mop. It did get quite dusty in here, and I mean, a lot of this, like we said, we demoed this over 9 months ago, so it needs a good cleaning before we paint.
How excited are you to caulk this entire room right now? I mean...
We're out of paper towels, shoot.
Do I need to make a run? Oh, what do we find?
We've got wipes, which I kind of like to use these more than paper towels anyway.
But Andrea didn't make it far before she ran into problems.
Why does this feel so difficult? Is there something wrong with this? Golly, why is it's like, I don't know if it's the caulk or my caulk gun.
Once I got everything working, I started to realize what a massive job I had ahead of me. With all this time on my hands, I did some quick mental calculations and realized I had over 500 feet of caulking to do. But even though it's time consuming, the effort is really well worth it. It creates a seamless, polished finish that elevates the overall look, adds a professional touch, and just makes the room feel more complete.
This is a pretty important wall, huh? Got some big gaps to attend to.
It might need a couple of passes.
Okay.
It's kind of like icing a cake, you know?
It really is. That's a lot of frosting up there.
How does it look from further back?
That's crazy.
Does it look better?
Yeah, it's so good.
I gotta get down and look at it. Oh, that's like great.
Yeah.
That's even better than I was thinking. When you were like, I mean, you can still see it. I was like, oh no, maybe it doesn't look that good. That's fine.
The next day we started things off bright and early with a Lowe's trip. A Lowe's trip. Every single day it's a Lowe's trip. Andrea gave me a list of supplies she needed for masking off the room. Bro, come on. Stop. So cool. And then I went by the paint store and acted like I was one of the construction regulars.
We'll be right with you.
Cool. And then it was time to bring it all home so Andrea could get started. Come on, boy.
Are you ready, Freddie?
I'm tired. I didn't sleep very good. I really want to start painting, so I'm like, I just need to like start moving.
Since these floors are brand new, I was feeling a little bit of pressure to get them covered really well, and so I took my time taping off every little nook and cranny.
All right, I've got my floors covered. Next, I'm gonna do the windows. It just feels like the next biggest thing, and so I'm gonna get that done.
After the windows, I moved on to covering the stained desktop, as well as the light fixtures, the hinges, and every other little thing that needed to be covered. One of the last things I had to do before being ready to paint was remove all of the cabinet doors and drawer fronts. And after setting them all on little paint tripods, I was finally ready to get my paint suit on.
Oh, it's getting serious.
Getting serious. Look, we're fucking doing it finally.
Hey, before you start, what's the name of the paint color? People are gonna ask.
I think it's Evening Grove.
Andrea was so eager to start this painting process that I kind of missed the start.
Let's hit it.
You said let's hit it, and then you said
And
dang
then I
it.
missed it.
Oh, it's not plugged in. Oh my gosh.
False start, false start, false start.
After 2 very long days of paint prep, I was finally ready to start putting some color in this room.
This is gonna be crazy. I really like it.
After finishing up the first coat, we let things dry for the rest of the day, and after our kids went to bed, we came back for a late night painting session for coat number 2.
Round 2.
She lives.
She lives!
Is that it?
That's it, man.
Nice.
Babe. Babe, it's time to go open the playroom. I want to uncover it. I need my videographer. Yeah, it's Christmas. It's Christmas. Wake up.
It's too early.
Wake up. Oh my gosh.
You are way too excited about this.
And now you can see why we say this is like Christmas morning for Andrea.
Calm down.
Way more fun to rip this off than it is just. Look at this wallpaper and the dark stain. It looks so good. This was my favorite from the beginning, but I was a little bit nervous that it would be too dark. And now that I see it, I'm like, oh, it's perfect. Like, Merry Christmas. Wow. All right, painting is officially done, and it is time for wallpaper. I'm just a little bit excited if you can't tell. I don't know what else to say. I just want to get started.
I'm just gonna go ahead and assume my usual position and get ahead of things here. Okay, I'm ready.
What are you doing? That's sideways. That's the wrong way. I gotta go get my knife. Hold on.
The man tries to do a good deed. He's cut down. Ta-da.
Oh wow, it looks so pretty. Gosh, this is gonna look so good. All right, I'm ready to start putting my first piece up. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a straight line using my level because this is the spot that I have randomly chosen to start wallpaper. So I like to cut my piece, you know, roughly to size where I've got a little bit of overhang, obviously, to trim off. Last time I did this, I got a lot of people telling me I was doing it wrong, but now I've watched a few videos and it turns out there's just a lot of ways you can apply wallpaper. And so I'm just gonna do it the way I've done it before because it worked for me and I liked it and it seemed less messy. And that's where I roll my wallpaper paste onto the wall. I like to add a decent bit because it makes it easy to kind of reposition the wallpaper if you need to. You get a little bit of slide. And in case you've never done a paste wallpaper like this, I think it's way easier than peel and stick because peel and stick can't slide at all on the wall. You have to place it perfectly. It also can fall down, which is annoying. But I feel like for some reason this seems more intimidating, maybe because it's, you know, another step. But I think it's easier overall. So my vote is always a pasted wallpaper, except for when the wallpaper that I love is peel and stick. Then I'll use that.
After getting the second piece put up, you could start to get a glimpse of what this room was gonna look like. After I finished hanging each piece, I used a damp rag to wipe away all of the excess wallpaper paste. To me, the trickiest part of installing wallpaper is always around the corners, especially if you're in an older house where the corners may not be straight.
It's so curly. My goodness. Stop curling.
After successfully making it around the first corner, I was really starting to get into a groove. After a few initial hiccups, I feel like I got things figured out and was able to make a ton of progress.
Come in, come see.
And all I could really say was, wow.
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 Are you seeing my vision a little bit more clearly?
Look at the vision.
I can see the vision when it's
On the wall?
yeah.
Yeah, it's getting real clear now.
Sweet, that's awesome.
After enjoying the view together for a little bit, Andrea got right back to work. No.
I'm starting to fizzle out.
Uh-oh.
I'm so tired.
But it is looking totes amazing.
Yes. I feel like it looks like we're deceptively close to the end of this room. So I'm excited because it feels kind of close, and then I'm also like, oh, there's a lot to do left.
But however tired she was feeling, she didn't show it because she kept knocking out wall after wall and making it look kind of easy.
By this point, the end felt so close and I was highly motivated to get this project finished.
And I know this looks really fast on camera, but this actually took 2 full days before she could finally say,
I finished! I finished! Oh my gosh, okay. All right, I got all of the wallpaper finished, which feels incredible and it looks so good. Next, I'm gonna work on getting this wall all finished up because it's gonna look so much better when I get these drawers put back together. So I'm gonna start putting all my doors and drawer prints on, and then I did find some hardware in my garage that I have almost enough of. I'm short 1 knob, but I wanna go ahead and start installing that because I love the way it looks, which is great, and I didn't have to spend money on it.
you need a light?
Sure.
All right. You don't mind if I get close to you?
Gosh, okay, I need a light.
Light guy, back in the game. I'm gonna have to get close now.
Things had been going relatively smoothly until I got to this third set of doors, and I don't know what exactly was going wrong, but I could not get these hinges properly adjusted.
And she was in no mood to mess around.
Stop. Don't make any jokes.
Not making any jokes. She attempted to. But you gotta know when it's the right time and it's the wrong time. It's not the right time right now. I'm not making any jokes. I'm just supporting you.
Babe? Ah! What is wrong with this? Okay. Oh, that got a little better. There we go, I'm getting it.
After adjusting the hinges what felt like 100 times, I finally got these doors opening and closing properly.
All right, time for the drawer, friends. Okay, I've got to it back. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's gonna look so good with those chairs. I got the coolest chairs for in here. Look at it!
Wow.
So pretty! Whoa!
And I thought this was an occasion to stop and take in the progress, but not Andrea.
What should I do next?
Well, we're gonna have a moment here. You're just like,
I'm ready to move on. You missed it. All right, it's time for hardware. I'm gonna start with the knobs because those are easier. I found all of these in my garage, leftover from other projects, and they're so cute. Unfortunately, right off the bat, I ran into an issue. Oh. No, come on. Screws are too short. I'm gonna try the ones from my other box of hardware.
Once I got things figured out, the knobs actually didn't take very long to install, but they look great.
So I just realized I have a bit of a dilemma. I just realized a little bit ago that my hardware, my pulls and my knobs are not actually the same brand, and so the color is a little bit different. I did go ahead and order some really similar pulls that match my knobs. Because I actually like the color of those better anyway. And then I'm gonna do 2 pulls on each drawer because I just think it looks fun.
Since I couldn't finish installing the drawer pulls, I moved on to the other side of the room and started with installing my library ladder.
This is the bar for my ladder. Oh, so I don't think this should be too hard. I'm just gonna basically put it up as high as I can, touching the crown molding. No, it would go this way, right? So that the ladder can slide all the way across. It's been a while. I guess I could go watch our last video. So if you want to know how to make a library ladder like that, just go watch our old playroom video. Maybe we'll link it. I wanted one of these ladders for years and years, and then we finally made one. I was so happy.
I realized this was going to be a 2-person job, and so I called on Dean for a little extra help.
yes.
Would you hold this up for me while I put in? Isn't that cute? I found it at an antique store.
It looks very wise. I assumed my standard position, but Andrea wasn't being too nice about it.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
I told you would love that. All right, next I'm gonna try and see if I can get all of this stuff put back on the shelves. So I went ahead and bought new bins. These are just ones from Target, and they've held up surprisingly well considering they're, you know, a light colored fabric. I don't think I can really wash these well, and they were in here for so long with all of the mold and the air that I would just feel better about starting off with new ones. Plus these are all clean and fresh, and they're not that expensive, especially if you get them on sale. So I bought some new bins and feel good about that decision.
Our first job of the week was to bring this antique table back into the space. Ooh, no way.
Very pretty, very pretty.
What's that?
White.
What's going on here?
I don't like it.
What do you mean you don't like it?
Well, I should be more specific. I don't like the color. It looks so much oranger in this room. So if it looks orange on camera, it's because it is. But I really want to get this sanded because I also want to pick out fabric for my bench. The fabric kind of depends on what color I can get this to.
I think I'm feeling a Lowe's trip coming on.
Yeah.
A Lowe's trip, a Lowe's trip. Woo! Every single day it's a Lowe's trip.
Wait, we're not going to Lowe's. Where are we going?
Home Depot. Trip, Home Depot. Trip. Every single day it's a Home Depot. Trip.
Where doers get more done.
We came to Home Depot to get stain for the table, but while we were there, I figured I might as well go ahead and get all the supplies I would need for the bench cushions.
While I stayed at the saw station getting our wood cut, Andrea went to the paint section to pick out stain.
They offered to test out a couple of different colors for me, and I may have knocked over one of the open cans while they were testing them.
You're on the naughty list, girl.
After a lot of apologies, I met back up with Dean and unfortunately realized that the plywood was not cut to the proper width.
Looks like we're going on a redo. Let's see some magic, minivan. Gosh, it's cold out here. I'm not an elf. I'm not equipped to deal with this kind of weather. Let's give it a test run here. It's so cold. Dang it.
Why is it on like the coldest day ever?
Alright, it's good enough. We're going with it. Let me in here.
So how about sanding and working outside today, huh? The dream! You don't look too thrilled about it.
All right, here goes. Since this table is solid wood and didn't have any thin veneer that I had to worry about sanding through, I started with a pretty rough sandpaper so I could completely remove the old finish. All right, so I'm going for a dark chocolatey brown kind of walnut color. So I grabbed this Varathane gel stain in the color Dark Walnut, really hoping that it turns out. I went with a gel stain because whenever I refinish something like this and I don't get the old finish completely stripped off, if I apply just a normal penetrating stain, it's gonna be so splotchy and uneven, whereas gel stain kind of sits on the surface a little bit, and so hopefully it'll give you a nice even finish.
Are you using the wax on, wax off method or no?
Yeah. At least push my sleeve. Alright, so I have my light fixture here and I've been playing with the idea of making it darker. So I've got some like really old, just brown furniture wax. I'm gonna test it out on the inside and just see if I like the way it looks. And if I do, I'm gonna do the whole light. After a little test spot, I decided to just go for it and started applying the wax on the entire light. And then while the table continued drying, I decided it was a good time for a quick cleanup in the space and to hang some curtains. All right, I'm switching places with our electrician. He had to go get some other parts that we needed for that light. He was in here doing this when we were outside working on the table, but while he's gone, I'm gonna go ahead and install our hardware because my new hardware came in and it matches perfectly. I got the same brand, the same color, so that I know it matches. And I think because this is out a little bit further, it gets even more direct light from the light above it, so they look brighter. So I'm so glad I just got the right ones, because again, those others did not look so good. Those are so cool.
They look so good.
I like those so much. It looks so good. Very like library-esque, you know, with the two pulls on each drawer. By this time, the table was dry enough to move and it was time to test it out in the space. I think it looks good. It's still pretty red.
Okay.
The true test is gonna be seeing it inside. So you're up, baby.
All right.
Here's my modified light fixture. I like that darker color so much more. It's still a little bit red, but it works. I feel like even now it doesn't like clash as much with the desktop, because I don't care so much about it all matching. I just want it to not like stand out like a sore thumb and clash really bad. So I decided that before I cut my wires, I should double check that this is the height I wanted, and so I grabbed Dean's help really quick before he ran out the door. Dean, do you have to run out like right this second? Could you come hold this for me?
It's supposed to be there 2 minutes ago, but sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're awesome. Oh, it's nice to have light on that side of the room. All right, so today I'm gonna get started on these benches for our little nook area here, and I finally decided on the fabrics. I had been considering this darker fake leather for the seats. I'm actually gonna do this same fabric that I did in our living room nook here, which is real convenient. I could just go steal that cushion to test it out. And then I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday and picked out just this kind of beige textured neutral that I'm going to do for my back cushions, and I might actually use this little scrap that I bought to make some straps to hold my back cushions up. And so I just need to get my measurements and then go cut my plywood, and then I can start the whole upholstery process, and this is getting so exciting. For these bench cushions, I used 1/2-inch plywood that we previously had ripped down at Home Depot. So at this point, all I needed to do was cut them down to the correct length. I feel like I should test these out first, you know, just make sure they fit. Good, I did it right. All right, so I'm gonna just put my board on here and then trace so I can cut it a little easier. That's not too bad. Yes.
And being this deep into a 2-month project, I think Andrea's brain was starting to give out a little bit.
Oh, is it enough?
Is it supposed to be bent right here?
Oh, I was like, how is this long enough? No, it's not long enough that way. Okay. Okay. Come on, brain. How do I do this? We'll get there eventually. Okay. As I got started, I realized a second set of hands might be really helpful, and so I grabbed Dean's help to apply a little more pressure to the back of the stapler while I stapled.
Scared me. Clear.
That seems good.
That seems great. You know, this cushion's being made with the key ingredient, love.
Feels like moment of truth. Oh, it looks so good. Okay, it always feels a little bit nerve-wracking. I'm like, I think it's gonna look good. Oh my gosh, okay. Wow, we have a seat. All right, bench number 2, bench seat number 2. I'm gonna make myself get both bench cushions done first.
After successfully completing the first bench cushion, it made the second one much easier, but it still took quite a while.
All right, second bench cushion is done. This is exciting because now I can work on the back ones. Oh my gosh. Look, it looks like a bench. Woohoo!
After finishing both seat cushions, it was time to move on to the cushions for the backrest.
So same thing, it's just a slightly smaller board and a different fabric. 2 more times. So that means I'm like halfway on this. The last cushion.
I used this rotary cutter and mat that I had from my sewing days, and this definitely made the job a lot easier than it would have been with just a pair of scissors. I cut 4 1-inch wide straps and then was ready to attach them.
All right, so I have my cushions done, but next I'm gonna add some straps with these pieces of faux leather that I cut. And these are gonna be so I can hang my back cushion on the back of my bench up there. And if you've been watching us for a few years, you've seen us do this on another project at our friend's house, and I have always loved the way that that project turned out, so I'm so excited to be able to incorporate this in our house. So let's get started. This should go pretty quickly. All right, so next I have these brass D-rings that I picked up at Joann's, and this is how I'm gonna hang them from the top of my bench. Is I'm gonna put this on my strap here, and then once I figure out how high I want it, I'll staple the strap onto the back like that so that it can hang all nice and pretty.
I used my level to make sure my cushion wasn't crooked before installing the nail.
Oh wow, it's so cool.
Next cushion.
Next cushion.
I followed the same process for the second backrest, and after a few minutes, I was ready to hang it as well.
All right, I have not added a top coat onto this desktop yet or my table, so I'm gonna put some furniture wax on both of these really quick, just to give it a little bit of protection, you know.
The table next.
Table next.
Holy smokes, that looks incredible. And at this point, I knew it was time again for my favorite job.
I'm going shopping in our house.
Like so.
Oh, I like it. Hold it centered. So more to the left. Now can you put it on the... Golly. I don't know.
Oh, babe.
Can you put it on the left wall? Put it down and to the left, like down an inch.
Any answers?
Does it look funny with just one picture?
Babe, I don't know.
What are you doing?
I'm gonna make a hole in the wallpaper.
Is this a rash decision?
It is.
Babe.
It's a tiny hole. Does this look centered? I'm not even gonna measure.
I don't know.
How rash is that? Should I measure?
I thought you were just being perfectionistic about the table and it's not even permanent.
What do you mean being perfectionistic about it?
Line it up.
Middle of the light, middle of the table.
Okay, yes.
I think I need to go a little bit that way.
I think you've nailed it. I think you should use a little more patience.
Good for you.
Is that a cigarette in your mouth?
I'm doing it. I am making a hole in the wallpaper.
The next task was to get this bulletin board hung back on the wall.
All right, while Andrea is working on finishing up the bulletin board, I'm gonna make a run to go pick up more tacos. No, I'm just kidding, just picking up the chairs. But apparently the warehouse wasn't ready for me. But thankfully I was able to find my friend Colton, who let me in, and then all I had to do was figure out how to get this door unlocked. And as I began loading up the chairs, I found another friend.
What's up, dude?
I'm just stealing stuff.
Yes.
Stefan, would you mind putting a leg on that thing?
A little bit of leg wrench.
Yes. Thankfully, he was willing to help me fit these giant boxes into the back of the minivan. Put that Tetris piece in there. Yes.
Yeah.
We won't tell you.
She's not gonna go, Captain.
Oh no.
We've got a blockage.
This job turned out to be a little more difficult than we first anticipated, so we had to get a bit creative. Oh, let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, cue the Chariots of Fire music. I think we have successfully completed the mission! Farewell, my monkey friend. So after transporting all of the chairs home, it was time to get these chairs inside, and Andrea was definitely excited.
Oh my gosh. That's a weird looking chair.
Yeah,
it looks like a toilet.
It's
It's a Minecraft toilet. Kids will like that.
Do you think you could fit through the window?
Yes.
Oh, there's a chair in there.
What did you think?
Oh, we don't have to assemble them?
Oh, that's wonderful. Goodness, come on, I want them opened.
This Christmas present takes forever to open.
Wow, I feel like it looks better in our house than it did in the store.
I think you're
Okay.
right. Ooh.
Oh, yes, that's what I was hoping, that it would like stop right there. That's like perfect. How good does it look? I love this. Wow, wow, wow. It's a little eclectic looking with the different wood tones, but oh my gosh, it looks so good.
And somehow we made it to the final day, reveal day. But there was still a lot of work to get done before we could show it to our kids.
All right, today, really quickly, I'm gonna work on making a cushion for the big window seat here. I'm just gonna wrap my fabric around my foam and then use some safety pins to pin it around. And then one day, when I have a little bit more time and energy left, I can sew the cushion properly with a zipper. But that day is not today. All right, so I have my foam all cut, but as you can see, I have a seam. I'm gonna spray some of this and hopefully it works well on this mattress topper like it does on the craft foam. But I haven't actually tried this on memory foam before, so we'll see. Once I had my foam cut and glued together, I was ready to wrap it in the fabric. While I was working on the cushion, I sent Dean on a mission to pick up the artwork, which would be the final finishing touch for this room. I found these dark floral prints on Etsy and then had them printed at Walgreens, and it was a super budget-friendly way to get exactly the look I wanted. Look how cute these are. I have a fox one too, and these are gonna go above their little desks. As I was looking at it, I just felt like it needed something there, and then I saw these prints from Juniper Print Shop, and I was like, those are perfect. Plus the boys really liked the fox and the owl, so. Look at that. And after that final task, we were at the end of this project that started almost a year ago. After a water leak, which led to tearing out all of our floors and discovering a serious mold problem in this room, which meant we needed to hire a professional mold remediation company to basically tear this room apart. Then, after hearing that insurance denied our claim, we saved and planned for months and months, and then we finally began the 2-month journey of putting this room back together and completely transforming it. Which leads us to today, where we are finally ready to reveal it to our kids who have been patiently waiting for almost a year now.
You ready to see your new fixer-upper? You excited?
Ready?
Come see it.
This is crazy. Heather. Whoa, this place is huge. Seats like that. When we go to Jason's Deli.
When we go to Jason's
better than you did it last time.
It's better than last time. I'm glad you think so.
What do you think, buddy?
This is awesome.
Is it like shocking
Yeah, pretty shocking.
You haven't been in here since we like
haven't been in
started doing anything.
I cannot believe after nearly a year, this room is finally finished and it looks more amazing than it ever has.
Yeah, it feels incredible. Like it feels like we just gained a new room to our house, onto our house, because I feel like we've gotten so used to living without it. Kind of like Christmas for the kids, because they've got all these books and games and puzzles that were boxed up for so many months that are now, you know, available again. So they're all having a blast in there.
And let's talk about some of our favorite parts from this design. For me, obviously, I love the painted ceilings. I love the wallpaper up against the trim. And a new personal favorite for me is the pools, the drawer pools.
Yeah,
gosh, those look so good.
So Doxy was asking me, what is your favorite part of this room? And I thought going into it that it would be the desk area, which I do love. It is kind of hard to pick a favorite because I'm kind of like you and I'm like, I love the ceilings and the wallpaper and the paint and all of it. But I think what surprised me the most is the built-in bench area. Yeah. I love that area. Like so it just looks so cool. Something about adding the cushions there and with the cushions hanging on the back, like all of that together with the light and then the artwork. I'm like, I think that's my favorite part of the room actually.
Yeah,
which our boys literally said to me multiple times, they're like, this is the best playroom ever. And like even some of them have a hard time with change. And so that's a big deal if they're like immediately like, yeah, this is better.
Part of the reason we're so excited and over the moon about this room is not just because of how beautiful it looks, but try and put yourself in our shoes and realize that this room has been torn apart for a year. So imagine like going through this saga and then putting 2 months of insanely hard work on top of that into this space. And now it's finally done. Like,
it's so great.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So thank you guys for coming along for this massive journey. We hope you've enjoyed it. I know we've enjoyed it. With all that said, we'll catch you again real soon.